Hello, everyone. Today is going to be a bit different from any other thing that we have done because my friend TCA Raghavan and I are going to talk about one aspect of the recent general election in India. And the aspect that I want to talk about freely, free ranging conversation is why did BJP win in some states and lose in other states? And we want to focus on what I call as electorally interesting states. How do I define this term? Start with the 12 states that have seats, at least 20 seats in Lok Sabha. So, not the smaller states. Together, we have 12 such states and they account for 80% of the Lok Sabha. Out of those 12, three are not interesting because the outcome is no. Gujarat will go to BJP, Tamil Nadu and Kerala will not go to BJP. There's nothing to discuss. So we are left with 9. Then the BJP conceded 2 states to its allies who are now quite dominant, that is Andhra and Bihar. So nothing to discuss. They conceded before the vote. So we are left with 7 states. Out of those 7 states, 2 are the states where they did well. That is Madhya Pradesh and Odisha. And the other 5 that are the ones where they did not do well. So I just want to understand why they did well in these 2 states. Is there something common? Is there something economic? Is there some hawa, some wave, something? And why they did badly or not do well in UP, Maharashtra, West Bengal, Rajasthan, Karnataka? Is there something in common, or is the election local? And to link it back to the campaign, does it really make sense to go around the whole country saying, this is my guarantee, and I mean Modi by this, it's me, I am going to do it? Or are the elections a bit more local and it's not what you are guaranteeing to the country? It also matters what's happening. So let me stop. I am only asking the questions. Let my friend TCA speak. He's a journalist, has been in India all his life, knows India very well. Go ahead, TCA.
Hi, Subodh, thanks. Yeah, we've just come out of this very brutal election, lasted 2 months or something in this heat. And although everybody expected the BJP to do far better than it did, it ended up getting only 240 seats. The main sort of loss, let's say, was in Uttar Pradesh,
Yes.
where last time they had 63 seats. But I think this time they have 33 or something.
39, I think.
So if they had won those 30 seats, then they would have been at 263, 265, something like that, and within striking distance of the magic number 273, and all would have been well. Things are okay now, but it would have given BJP a reason to feel better than it is feeling now. So here's the question that you asked. What happened? And you're absolutely right in saying that mostly general elections in India in the last, say, 35 years, after 1989, basically, these have been increasingly local.
Yeah.
Now, that local thing manifests itself in 2 ways. One is caste, and the other is candidate. If you have a large number of people in a constituency of a particular caste, but if you get the wrong candidate, then you will do badly. Or if you get the right candidate, but he is from the wrong caste, you are going to do badly. Now, what seems to have gone wrong for the BJP this time is that in different constituencies, they got one or the other one. Where they got both right, they won. So that's one part of the problem. It's a major problem, but for a political party choosing a candidate in a particular constituency, it's a highly local affair. And thanks to Narendra Modi's style of governance, campaigning, whatever, he was basically asking people to ignore the local candidate and vote for him.
Yes.
So it worked in some places, it didn't work in some places, and it didn't work in enough places. Now, you may well ask, why did it work in 2014 and why did it work in 2019? In 2014, he conducted a very different campaign. It was based on development, Achheden, and all the rest of that sort of thing. Plus, in any case, people were pretty tired of the UPA's corruption, very high inflation. Very few people remember this. Food inflation between 2000, end of 2010 and 2014, food inflation was 65%.
Mm.
It was really hurting everybody, not just the poor or the not so rich or whatever, middle class or whatever. It was hurting everybody. Plus the fact that Modi he brought this newness and these new promises and this new way of speaking, oratory, all the rest of it. Even then, mind you, they got only 282 seats.
Yes.
Now, in 2019, a friend of mine in the BJP, I asked him, we used to be colleagues in a newspaper long, long ago. So one day we met on a flight and just happened. And I said, what do you think? How many will you get? And he said 242. I said, wow, I mean, that's very precise here, 242. He says, yeah, with luck, we'll go up to about 260. And if we are not lucky, we'll go down to about 230, but that's about what we are going to get. This was in January, early first week of January of 2019. Then Pulwama happened, then Balakot happened, and the Pakistanis literally handed the election to Mr. Modi.
Right.
After that time.
Right.
So they got a bump of 60 seats, and they ended up with 303.
Yeah.
So it was always on the cards that they were going to lose 35, 40 of these seats.
Right.
The issue was really whether they're going to lose 40 seats or 30 seats. Nobody expected them to lose 63 seats.
Right.
And as I said, out of those 63, 30 have come from UP. Now, what is the local problem that we talk about? You know what's about the number of voters in every small caste has increased hugely over the years. So what happens is that if a guy who's a neta, leader of a particular caste, if he can guarantee that his people in a particular constituency will vote for a particular party, he gets enormous clout. And he may not have the population of his particular sliver of his caste may not be more than 5 or 7, 8% of the total number of voters. But he can guarantee you a victory. So this phenomenon actually started in Tamil Nadu a good 40 years ago, when the two main adversaries, DMK and AIADMK, began to splinter into smaller and smaller caste groups. For the simple reason that the local caste fellow, in a sense, he becomes a vote contractor.
Yeah.
And if he can either become a vote contractor by joining a particular party, or if he has a sufficient number of people from his subcaste in a particular constituency, he can float his own party. What you were saying about Rajasthan,
Yeah.
Just one seat in parliament, his own. But this is a national phenomenon. Now, what the national parties or even the regional parties have to do is to aggregate these things. And that's where what I said, the choice of candidate becomes very important.
Yeah.
Because if you pick the wrong candidate who annoys a lot of people, he's not going to win that election.
Okay.
At least his margin is going to come down. Now, this just a number for you. In 2019, the BJP had 224 candidates who won by a margin of more than 50%.
Yeah.
This time, I think half of them have been defeated.
Yeah.
Not just that, Mr. Modi in Banaras, who had won by around 6 lakh votes, has
Yeah.
won only by just over 1.5 lakh votes this time.
Right. Right.
If the people, the problem is that if your main campaigner has annoyed the voter, you can imagine what the other chaps have done.
Yeah.
In whatever way. So this is a problem. Now, your second question, why did this not happen in the states that they won?
Yes.
But that's it.
Yeah.
Better candidate selection. You
Okay.
listen to the local guys. If you ignore the local guys and try to have your own people. Now, you see, internal battles within a political party
Yeah.
as to who will control seat distribution, ticket distribution, that is. This has been going on in forever.
Yes.
You know, who's the guy who decides whether mere chamche ko milega ya tere chamche ko milega.
Correct.
That
Correct. Yeah.
Now, if you make the mistake of ignoring the local guy to an extent that is not warranted, because you feel that if this chap becomes very powerful, then I will lose my leverage,
Yeah.
then you end up giving tickets to the wrong guys.
Right.
Now, this happened in Uttarakhand 2 years ago, the Congress won. This has happened with the Congress in Rajasthan, where it gave tickets to the wrong guys. So they lost Rajasthan. This happened in Chhattisgarh, where they gave tickets to the wrong guys, and the BJP won. So it's crucial, absolutely crucial, that you pick the right man for the particular job at hand, which means that he not only does it have to be a proper leader, he also has to be from the proper caste, that is relevant caste.
So can we talk about Karnataka for a moment? You know, they have the chief minister, right? And Rajasthan, they have the chief minister, but the seats in parliament came down. So what's happening?
That's the Indian voter makes a very clear distinction, and he has been doing that for a very long time now, 30 years, 35 years. Makes ever since the Congress monopoly started to decline, they make a very clear distinction between Lok Sabha and Assembly elections. So
Yeah.
very important reason.
Yeah.
The guys who are standing for election are a completely different bunch of chaps.
Yeah.
So, like I keep saying, that even at the assembly state level, if you pick the right candidates, Karnataka, for example, the BJP, from what I hear and have read or know, the BJP managed to really screw up the political equations within its own party.
Yeah.
It was essentially a party which was backed by the Lingayat community.
Right.
And they had a problem with the main chief leader of Yadurappa here, with of the Lingayats. So they lost that vote. And after that, it was just a matter of damage control, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
But at the central level, they corrected that mistake. And they did a much more scientific analysis of not just the caste composition in a constituency, but also which candidate they were picking. But obviously, that didn't happen in UP. It didn't happen in Rajasthan.
Yeah.
But there's one more factor which is immediate and sort of, proximate cause, rather than the fundamental cause. The proximate cause has been that the opposition led by the Congress very successfully managed to put forth the idea, convince the the SC voters, the Dalit voters, that if the BJP came back to power, they would remove reservation.
Yeah.
Now, as we have discussed once before in one of our programs, the jobs are, everybody wants a government job. Everybody wants a reserved place in a college or something.
Yeah.
And the fear of the BJP abolishing, completely taking away or diminishing the number of seats for the Dalits, this frightened a lot of these people into voting against the BJP. Now, this is a peculiar contrast between UP and Bihar. In UP, they lost 30 seats, and a large number of them would have been because of the Dalit plus Muslim vote. The Muslims weren't going to vote for the BJP.
Anyway.
So the swing was in the hands of the Dalits. The Dalits used to vote, what, 14-15% vote share Mayawati's BSP had, Bahujan Samaj Party. That, the calculation would shift to the BJP.
Yeah.
And that went wrong because of this reservation issue. It shifted to the Samajwadi Party, which had 0 seats last time. It got 38 this time.
Right. So let me just butt in here, just to summarize sort of what you are saying is that if there is going to be a cross-cutting issue, it is one that affects a particular community in those constituencies, right? Otherwise, local candidate, the person who is going to stand for election is very important. And if there are issues, then it's an issue which affects the personally, that look, it's my reservation that's going away. And then it doesn't matter who the candidate is, because if they're going to take it away, then they're going to, this affects people across constituencies. So the local factors are very important. The candidate has to be right. And then it's not like some big national issue like India is the 3rd highest GDP in the world that matters. Doesn't matter. What matters is what's going to be done to me. Are you going to harm me? Are you going to help people like me? And if those people are spread across various constituencies, then you can get a wave or a hawa or whatever you want to call it in your favor, because you have hit a nerve for those people. So it's about local issues and cross-cutting issues that affect the people. But big claims like Vajpayee and Advani had India shining, India 3rd in GDP, India this, India that, we speak highly in this place or that place. It doesn't cut it, right? Doesn't cut it.
It's you see if you remember, we were in college when Indira Gandhi won that famous 71 and the 72 assembly elections. He was a leader who one sec, can we just pause this? Let me kick my dog out, please. Can you? Sorry about this.
Sure. Okay. We are back from the pause. TCA was telling us about 1971, 72. Yes, there was life back then also, people.
But leadership made a huge difference. And every once in a while, the leader becomes more important than all the factors that I have mentioned. So Indira Gandhi was one such leader. But the same leader in 77 lost very badly.
Yeah.
After that, the only leader who made that kind of overwhelming difference was Modi.
Yes.
It's true that Rajiv Gandhi's Congress got 413 seats out of 543, but that was because of the assassination of Indira Gandhi.
Right.
Because in the next election, in spite of Rajiv being there, they got 197.
Yeah, they got wiped out.
They lost 58% of the seats.
Yeah.
So those are exceptions, not hawa that we talked about. तो हवा तो कभी कभी बंद हो जाती है, 10 साल बाद तो बंद ही होगी. So Mr. Modi's appeal, although he's a very good administrator and he's a great finisher like Dhoni and all the rest of it, all that, he's terrific at that kind of thing. But 10 years, 10 years is a very, very long time. And people start saying, okay, I mean, we love your style, we love your promises, we love what you've done, but we're not going to vote for you just on the basis of that. From being national, now we are going local.
Yes,
That's what's happening.
Okay, so that, pushing a national and international message has big risks if it is not backed up by local and such issues. Okay, and I think today people, when we talk 72-7, today the knowledge base is much more, people have much more communications and so on.
Yes.
And what that has led to is actually not more national, but more local. Like, look, I know what's happening. I know what's going on. You don't just come and give me a speech. I already know what's happening and what. So it's very interesting that, we interpret the elections in national terms and in huge mega policies. But in the end, you have to win constituency by constituency. You can design a great home, but you have to build it brick by brick.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So here, if you don't build it properly with the bricks, then the house crumbles.
Yeah.
And no matter how great the design, no matter how great the architect or the builder, every brick, and that's why you see that, even in spite of the consolidation under India and NDA, there are still people in the Lok Sabha which are three people of a party, three people. What national view do they have? None. They've never been outside their home state. First time they'll go to Delhi and say, oh my God, this is Delhi. They have no idea what they're doing. But so this is sort of, I think, one of the key messages. And I want to just confirm this with you, that in the end, there's a huge local factor. It could be in terms of caste or traditional identity, let's put it this way. There's a tribal factor or a Dalit factor or whatever. But if it's not that, it's Lingayat, like Yedi in Karnataka. They are not, so each traditional identity still matters in India. It's not just about a national message or a national big leader. That's where I am coming from. So let's hear from you.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like I said, you just have to get the candidate right and the caste right, and then that does 80% of the job.
Yeah.
But there's one more thing, Subodh, that we need to know about, which is never talked about publicly anyway.
Public?
It's not talked about publicly.
Okay.
In every constituency, thanks to this huge amount of development expenditure that has been undertaken over the last 60, 70 years, a group of guys has evolved, developed, whatever you want to call it, who are contractors.
Yes.
Mainly for government projects.
Yes.
These guys, they mattered a lot to the political parties.
Okay.
Rival political parties.
I had never thought of this.
To the rival candidates. कि ठेका किसको मिला? हमारे आदमी को कि मेरे आदमी को. Now the ठेका, the income from that ठेका, some of it, as you well, sort of is used for political funding, etc. In a sense, we already have, I've been saying this for a long time now, that we already have state funding of elections, except that it's not directly to the parties, it is routed through these various contractors.
Okay.
These guys can be big, they can be small, but they matter.
Yeah.
And their caste matters.
Yeah.
And their rivalry matters. Their ability to influence the voter matters. The influence can be either pecuniary or coercive. All of that matters. Yeah. And it matters in every constituency. It's not as if certainly every rural constituency or semi-rural constituency. Maybe it doesn't happen in Delhi or Bombay or something, but it happens. So this is, people say Adani, Ambani, big business, capitalist class. That's all nonsense. I mean, those guys, they're largely irrelevant to the electoral outcome at the constituency level. What matters is whose constituency ka bada thekadar ko.
Okay.
And that's something that needs to be studied by
All right, I had never heard of it. I'm glad that you have point. They're local level vote aggregators.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about
and fund collectors.
yeah, fund collectors. That has been there since times immemorial. That they now, Indira Gandhi dropped that system to some extent and started taking money from the top, which continues till now. But let's talk about Odisha for a moment, if you have some information or ideas.
About the assembly election or the
both, because the BJP won both.
Well, it's the virtual, what's the word? Complete decline of the Biju Janata Dal.
Yeah.
Naveen Patnaik won 5 successive elections.
Right.
As Chief Minister. It has a very large tribal population.
Yes.
It used to be very poor.
Yes.
It's now become much, much better.
Yes.
Not as poor as it used to be. It had lousy infrastructure.
Yes.
And all that has been improved. Agriculture practices which improve productivity. Naveen Patnaik has done a lot to improve that, had done a lot to improve that. And in general, you would not have expected the people to vote against him, and they would not have. So there must have been some one thing that annoyed them. This will emerge over the months or weeks. But what people say is that his clear preference for that chap, Pandian,
yes,
an IAS officer who resigned from the service and joined BJD and became the successor for all practical purposes to Naveen Patnaik, that completely annoyed the local party fellows. They said, what, we've been working and who's this interloper?
Yes.
And so they simply didn't work for a BJD. So there was a certain suicidal element there that if I can't get it, I'll make sure you don't get it. Never mind if somebody else gets it. It's like the 2 cats and the monkey,
Yeah.
Now, in the BJD's case, there was also this element of, that story of the monkey who asked the alligator for a ride across the river.
Yeah.
So the alligator says, listen, how can you trust me? I might eat you up.
Yeah.
Stream. So the monkey says, no, you're a decent fellow and I trust you. And the alligator just eats him up midstream.
Yeah.
That's roughly what has happened to the BJP. They trusted the BJP. And the BJP is quite a ruthless political machine. They would like to have as many state governments as possible under them.
So once again, it's personalities and local factors rather than a national wave as such.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's really, we do get national interpretations, especially in the Western media, of national interpretations, and I'm never satisfied because I'm saying, look, every bloody thing is constituency by constituency, and the constituents are not really driven wholly by national considerations. They are driven quite a bit by local.
How you go and tell a chap in a constituency, an ordinary guy, shopkeeper, that I did G20 and look what a great international leader I am. What was in it for me, man?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's very helpful. I think you have other commitments. So let's have some final words from you.
Well, now looking forward, the main question is how will this government conduct itself? And I personally happen to believe that if you've got 242 seats and if you've got another 15 independents supporting you and you're already up to 257, 260 seats as a bloc, even without the 2 coalition NDA partners like say Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar, who between them have only about 32 seats. It's only a matter of time before the BJP acquires its own majority.
Mm-hmm.
And when it does that, it will go back to the way it was functioning earlier. So net, I don't see very much of a change happening in the governance style of this government or its objectives. Some things might get delayed, but that's about it. We're talking of a 5-year horizon. So
Yeah.
certain things may not happen as was planned by Mr. Modi before the election. But broadly, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. I mean, to anything, foreign policy, defense policy, economic policy, social policy, it will make a difference. That there will be a softening towards the Muslims.
Okay,
You guys have been very harsh.
let's discuss this
So-
once the portfolios are given, the
Yeah,
ministers are
they
in
must
place.
be doing the swearing in now at 7 o'clock. So
But I wanted to get this analysis done before that, because this is about the election, that's about the government. And the
Yeah,
two
sure.
are actually,
Yeah.
let's see what, where the allies come out and who gets what portfolio and all. And let's see, maybe we come back and talk to you about it after that.
I can tell you what I was told this afternoon by somebody very high up in the BJP, that
Okay.
these guys have not asked for anything
Uh-huh,
so far.
uh-huh.
That's the thing.
They don't want anything.
Abhi kuch nahi pucha hai.
Acha,
As the days go by, they will.
okay, now let me just end this by asking, what happened to your lights? You lost electricity? I think there's a loss of power there. So maybe we'll have to end it here. Is TCA, can you hear me? Well, my friend TCA has vanished because he has lost power. This is Delhi. This is still India because of the heat. You are running, people are running ACs, the system can't cope with it. So we have to end it here. Let me just thank him. And we may be back, he and I, to discuss what happens when the governments are formed. But for the moment, I have to say bye myself. And thank you to TCA for coming forward readily to present his views. Okay, bye everybody.